All right. You ready? Me too. Hello, everyone. I'm Kate, as you just heard. This is me climbing a frozen waterfall. And when I'm not doing crazy things like that, I consider myself a creative accomplice and client whisperer in this awesome ad business of ours. And I'm here today because I believe we all have unique abilities, and they come from our families, right? Whether we like it or not, they do. And so I think when we tell our stories, it helps us learn more about ourselves. So as you heard him say, I believe in superpowers. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So my story. I grew up on a farm in early Iowa. Population 600. Let's wrap your head around that. And you know, yeah, we did grow up in a pink house. That is my actual childhood farmhouse. You know, being youngest is a very big part of my identity. And so my family, I am number 10. Irish Catholic. I heard a shit over here. Irish Catholic. And, you know, it was a big part, like racing to keep up with the kids and trying to like find creative ways to get noticed. And then learning disappointment when I got left behind. It's a big part of shaping who I am. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my parents' superpowers, just a little bit to give you an expectation of kind of like how I was shaped. When I was 4, my mom found me preparing to run away. Oh, I was mad at Dad, so mad. And she said, I am too. So she packed the lunch and she took me on a picnic. And, you know, that's the kind of mom I had, right? She dropped what she was doing, and in a family of 10, that's not easy. So my dad, on the other hand, his superpower was empowerment. And I loved being outside with my dad. A little bit of a tomboy, foreshadowing there. He and I mean, I was just at his side. And so when Dad and I had a chance, he started to let me do more and more things with him on the farm. And during harvest, I, one year, was able to actually get in the combine with him, drive my big tractor. So he had a big tractor, I had, there we are. And I drive alongside of him while he's moving. So we're just like, we're doing this thing, and I'm 14. And it's $700,000 worth of equipment. Not to mention the fact that I'm a girl and it's 1982, right? My dad believed in me. And so then comes puberty. Whew. So trying to come out in a family so Catholic that they had you, the 10th kid, it was not easy, guys. I'm just telling you, it was very hard. But I had a chance to tap into one of my first superpowers in high school. This is me performing in drag in 1985 as In Excess. Right? So, you know, I wasn't even out yet, but we crushed it, we won. And then, you know, shit got real. 1991, I got fired for my first job because I was a lesbian. You know, I lost a lot of friends. My family pushed me away. It was tough. It was really, really tough. But I started to learn a little bit about who I was and my character because I fought back. Now, it's not all heavy, I promise. This won't be a downer. I do like to have fun. And this is me surprising the hell out of my team last summer, rapping a new business case study. Now, I am no rapper, but the client was 45 minutes late, so I wrote a rap. And then she loved it so much, she stopped the meeting and had me do it again so she could film it. So in that is vulnerability. And when you get comfortable in your own skin, it is a lot easier to be vulnerable. And the beautiful thing is it gets rewarded with trust. And as you guys know, trust is critical to take risks. So in my career, I had an opportunity to take a job at a struggling company. And when I took the helm, I knew this, but I saw so much potential for creativity. I knew it could thrive and grow. We tried so hard. And at the end, it just was not meant to be. And it was gut-wrenching to call it. But I didn't consider it a failure because we tried so hard as a team, right? And so when the team comes together, that's when I get most excited. Maybe it's because I'm number 10 and I love to be a part of it, but when we come together and we really lock arms as a group, that is when great things happen. So I had a chance to do this, gun violence, right? It's a huge, huge issue. We thought we got to do something. It started slowly. It nearly died way more times than I care to recall, but slowly the team came together. And we were able to have a couple of interns who came up with the most amazing idea, and we helped them do the idea. And for one day, one morning, we turned fearless girl into fearful girl. I was so proud of the team. It was right before the midterms, and it was a big deal. Thank you. So all of you are a part of a team, right? So I just encourage you to start thinking, what do you contribute to the team? And if you're like me, you maybe don't know, you need help, so you ask your network, ask your friends, what do I do well? What's my superpower, right? And when you do that, that's when you start to really know, like your network lifts you up, and it's amazing. So right now, I want you to all close your eyes. Imagine your superpowers. Now imagine you're wearing a silky cape. Okay, I'm just kidding. There's no cape. But when you do that, like mine is, I am a little bit crazy. I ice climb. I'm the youngest. What is the thing that really has made you you? And you can open your eyes for those of you that are really taking this seriously. You're missing a slide. But you know, that's it. I mean, I ask you to leave today and really lean in. I hope that you're inspired by that and think about it, right? So thank you for letting me share my story. Thank you for the crazy format, right? We appreciate it, you guys. And come find me. I want to hear from all of you.
Hello. It's Friday. All right, hi, I'm Jenny Hoffman, and I'm a global creative strategist at Spotify. And a big thank you first to Kat for inviting me to be here today. Birth is the biggest lottery in life, and my lottery ticket happened to include 2 other people on it. You see, I'm a triplet. These are my other 2/3, Tom and Will. And when we were born, Ronald Reagan sent my parents a letter congratulating us on our birth. And we received free diapers, we were featured in the local paper. Apparently triplets were a really big deal. Now, not so much. Usually when people find out I'm a triplet, they ask me questions that make me go like this. Some examples include, are you identical? I hope not, it's me and 2 boys. Was it natural? Yeah, but that's not something I want to think about. And my personal favorite question, which is, who's the oldest? And my parents actually never told us. Seriously. But without a doubt, the question I get asked most frequently is, what's it like being a triplet? It's a tough one to answer. I mean, what's it like being born by yourself? Despite our differences, I actually think that you guys know what it's like being a triplet a lot more than you realize. Let me explain. Have you ever had something happen to you that was completely out of your control, but ended up shaping the rest of your life forever? I didn't plan to come out of the womb with 2 men, trust me. But I didn't have much choice, nor did my sister or parents, for that matter. My parents were expecting twins until they picked up a 3rd heartbeat. And my sister, who was 6 at the time, had already booked us for show and tell in her 1st grade class. And before her due date, my mom was bigger round than she was tall. My parents hadn't planned on having 4 kids, but in life, there are things that you just don't get to choose. But together, she and my dad tackled parenthood, trading off staying at home with us and working. And now, my mom sits on the executive team of a multi-billion-dollar company. She likes to say that you can have it all, just not at the same time. She didn't know that that group of screaming children would turn into a nice, normal, not extraordinary family. But because they accepted the unexpected, it changed all of our lives. Next, have you ever had a best friend who always has your back? Growing up with 2 people the same age automatically gave me my 2 best friends, which meant some really fun memories and some raging parties. This is us at our 8th birthday. My parents rented out the school gymnasium, and we invited our entire 2nd grade class for the Olympics, which kind of turned into this. And this is kind of like what being a triplet is like. It means some really tough lessons in sharing and patience and learning things the hard way. Once, when I was about 5 or 6, my brothers and I were playing in the backyard, and we knocked over a stone bird bath. And my parents came home to discover what had happened. So my dad brought us in for questioning. And he lined us up on the family room table, and he said, Tom, do you know what happened? Tom said no. He said, Will, do you know what happened? Will said no. And before my dad could get to me, I shouted out, yes, you do. You were standing right there when I did it. Yeah, not the smartest then. So take it from me. If you find good friends, always look out for them instead of yourself. Which brings me to my next point. Being a triplet is a lot like being part of News Team 4. It's about being part of a team that's collaborative and supportive and willing to chip in to help you achieve your goals. Growing up with two boys, I was pretty competitive. So when I joined the Brownies and they told me that all I had to do to win a prize was to sell the most cookies, I was in. And I spent weeks prepping my strategy. And my brothers really got into it with me. I mean, look how happy they are. It probably has nothing to do with all the free Thin Mints and Samoas that they ate. But they even helped me with my go-to-market approach and my consumer outreach. So, for example, hi, my name is Jenny Hoffman. I'm selling Girl Scout cookies. Last year, you helped me be #1 in my troop. Will you please help me again this year? Order now, pay later. It seems silly, but my brothers instilled a lot of confidence in me and helped me believe that I could do whatever I set my mind to, which is what a good team is supposed to do. They're meant to inspire you. And the same approach applies in our jobs. If we're not on a team that champions each other, then it's our job to create one. Your teammates are your biggest allies, and like my brothers, some of them will stick around for life. But perhaps the simplest answer to the question, what's it like being a triplet, is this. It's like taking the one thing you didn't choose, the trait that makes you different, and turning it into your greatest strength. At first, I hated being the only girl as a set of triplets. I felt left out when my brothers went to Boy Scouts or golfing or just wanted guy time. But what I realize now is that it's because of those things that I learned how to play golf, because I insisted on going to golf camp with them. It's why I went to an all-women's college and really thrived. And it's why I truly enjoy and appreciate the job that I have today. I feel so grateful to work in an industry and at a company that champions diversity and empowers different viewpoints. It's one of the reasons I chose to work there over 5.5 years ago. The same skills that I learned growing up with two men are the same skills that I use in my job every day. Collaboration, teamwork, patience, empathy, and a whole lot of fun. Here's the thing. I have spent my entire life experiencing the differences between men and women. And from my perspective, it's only when we work together that any of us can truly shine. Women bring so much to the table, our emotions, our empathy, our ability to communicate. And men add incredible value too. Sometimes we women like to shine a little brighter. You know, I didn't mind being the only woman in the womb, and I certainly don't mind being the only woman in the room. So some questions to ask yourself. For what unexpected event in your life are you grateful for? Who instills confidence in you? And what is your greatest strength? If you think about it, you already know what it's like to be a triplet. If you empower others, champion different viewpoints, and find your greatest strength, well, in the lottery of life, I think you've already hit the jackpot. Thank you.
No one told me about Comedy Hour, so we're gonna go to a different place. Germans have unique, deeply specific words to convey complex concepts and emotional states, words that have no literal translation. Spanish has a very simple common word that hides in plain sight, whose complexity and depth is undermined by English. When you're part of a minority identity, there are moments, big and small, that remind you that you are other. The dedicated grocery aisle, the smell of your mommy's house, clapping when the plane lands. This year, that reminder of otherness came through the blindsiding loss of 3 family members in 8 months. And my worry about my workplace's reaction to having to attend all these funerals. I imagined a coworker saying, "Really? Another uncle? Exactly how many of these do you have?" And I wondered if I was going to have to explain. The first thing someone says to you when you tell them of a death that is not in your immediate nuclear family is, were you close? They're trying to ascertain where in the hierarchy this person sits and just how sad you get to be about it. We received news that our uncle did not have a lot of time left, and within 24 hours, my parents, siblings, and I dropped everything we were doing across the globe to get to the Bronx. All roads led to the last stop on the 4 train. We crammed into my uncle's shared little hospital room, and we surrounded him with love and touch and the reassurance that he was free to fly back to the stars. And then he left us a few hours later. You might be wondering if we spoke to Theo all the time or knew all the goings-on in his life. We didn't. The reason that we do not hesitate to drop everything at a moment's notice is because of the way we were raised. The American ideal of family is nuclear. Single-family home, 2 parents, 1.9 kids, or 10, or 3. But still, it's rooted in the individualism at the core of America. So it's all about success being defined by autonomy and independence. On the other end, you have familia, which is expansive and does not distinguish between immediate and extended. And our success is collective. Where living with your parents is a source of shame and ridicule for Americans, it is a completely natural and reasonable option for us. I mean, not for me personally, but culturally. My sister lives just a mile from my parents, and it still seems too far sometimes. The individualist view of family means that when people follow me on social media, or they haven't seen me in a long time, they think I have a daughter. And it's probably a reasonable assumption if you look through the lens of the American nuclear family. Our identities are shaped and defined by familia, often in relation to them. These constant figures in our lives are anchors that let us know that we have a posse, that we will always have a soft place to land. This identity is further defined by our parents' sacrifices, the borders they crossed, the land they left behind. We carry the burden of making up for what they gave up. That means that so much of what we do is actually in honor of our familia and the village. When we win, they win. It also means 4 tickets are not going to cut it for graduation. That means anytime we have the opportunity to all be in the same room, it's an instantaneous celebration. Food, dance, firewater, of course. And no matter how often these gatherings happen, we don't take them for granted. Familia is also why we share so deeply in loss. We don't isolate ourselves from the fellowship that got us here. The shared weight of all that grief makes it much more bearable, and we're able to carry each other home. It's why there might be a Latinx in your office right now, an upstanding American citizen, a senior executive, who is nonetheless deeply affected by ICE raids and what it might mean for someone they love. Our word for this kind of closeness is familismo, and it means family over everything. It means you will not die alone even if you did not have children. And in times like these, when we are vilified by the media, familismo fuels our resilience. At her graduation, my niece introduced the 6 of us who were there as her parents. None of us corrected her because she's right. Thank you.